Hello, comic book readers, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a weekly comic book review show where we take the books of the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should buy. Normally it's on Mondays. Today is a special occasion because I was sick.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
It's a special occasion.
It is a special occasion because it's not the day we normally go live.
That's
so why is that? I was sick, couldn't do it, but
Mhm.
we're here now, and we're doing it anyway. We also talk about comic book movies when they are applicable. In today's instance, we're going to dedicate the show to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But
Yes.
if you have not seen the movie yet, don't be discouraged. Don't run away, because we're going to dedicate a portion of the episode in the top of the hour to a non-spoiler review, whether you should go run out and see it, whether you should run out and hide from it, whether you should catch WandaVision to be prepared for it, etc. We're going to give you a non-spoiler review, and we're going to talk all about the movie, the acting, everything about it.
Mhm.
And then we're going to recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should buy. We also want to mention that this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you'd like to keep corporate comics out of the show, you should use Super Chats and ask a question or comment here on the program. Or if you want to help us more directly, you can go to patreon.com/ComicPop and help support us more directly that way. So yeah, and by the way, add a bonus of using the Super Chats is you can ask a question or make a comment live here on the show, and we'll read it here on the show, and now you're part of the show forever.
Yes.
Or as long as YouTube exists. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Okay.
So non-spoiler review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, yay or nay? I think that if you are a massive fan of the MCU, it's a can't miss. You have to go check it out, because it's part of the ongoing narrative. I think that it sets things up that will be paid off in the future, or at the very least need to be. And if they aren't, it would be suspicious. So you should check it out. If you are a huge fan of the last 10 seconds of the WandaVision series, again, this pays it off in every way. So you should definitely check that out. But if you are a huge Doctor Strange fan, and you are hoping that the Scott Derrickson film that preceded it didn't really get into his character and didn't really pay Doctor Strange justice, Tiffany, what do you think?
Well, then you're not gonna find it here.
That's right.
I would say that I only agree with a little bit of what you said.
I know.
Like, if you're a completionist,
That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna go see this.
I'm saying if you're a completionist, you should go see it.
The WandaVision thing.
Well, people said that it came out of left field. Again, no spoilers, but it doesn't. It's set up in that last 10 seconds of the show.
A concept is set up in the last 10 seconds of that show. I don't agree that it was paid off well.
I think that it is paid off. Like, it is carried over. If
you had a checklist, you technically could tick the box just to get it done.
Yes.
Basically, like saying you cleaned your room, but you just shoved it all under the bed.
That's right.
Sure.
I'm not saying good or bad. I'm simply saying that
technically,
if you were like, man, what happens at the end of WandaVision?
Yeah.
Man, I want to see that paid off. It is paid off in this film, and you can go check it out. Again, this is all for completionists' sake.
Sure.
But if you are looking for a multiversal film to check out in theaters, I would suggest Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not comparing the two.
No, not at all. We haven't seen
it,
but I
really
would like to.
Yeah.
If you were looking for a Doctor Strange movie, this ain't it. I'm sorry.
Right.
This is not.
This is a pilot for 3 or 4 different things.
This is not his movie at all.
No, this is, and I can't even say it's really even the America Chavez show.
I don't know whose movie it is.
Well, that's the thing, is when it's everybody's movie, it's nobody's. And in that case, yeah, it is no one's movie, because no one really comes out unscathed out of this movie. Like, no one who is featured prominently in this movie looks great, is respected well. I don't think anyone looks really good out of this. I mean, Elizabeth Olsen does do something relatively new with the character, and I think she's excited to try it. I think no actor doesn't like the opportunity to play a villain.
Well, that could be a spoiler.
That's true. That's fair. We're kind of easing into the spoiler.
Well, okay. So my review of it, though,
yes,
is
please.
just we all know I don't hide my feelings about the first Doctor Strange movie, that it didn't feel like a Doctor Strange movie and it made me worried about the future of his character. And I think that this movie supported my case. In that Strange seems to be right now better suited to be a supporting character in other people's films, where for some reason those directors get it.
Yeah, you've liked him in pretty much every other incarnation, right? Because you weren't a big fan of his solo debut, but loved him in Thor 3.
Yes.
Enjoyed him in all the Avengers movies. That is to say, the last two. Spider-Man: No Way Home.
I loved him there too.
There we go.
I really did. They just don't know what to do with him, and as much as I am a Doctor Strange fan, I don't think we're ever going to get it. Like, I've come to terms with that. I have come to terms with the fact that I don't think we're ever going to quite get a real Doctor Strange movie. I think he's always going to be a vehicle.
Right.
For something else.
Because, and now why do you think that is? Do you think it's because they don't believe in the character? Do you think it's because they don't understand it? Do you think it's because he's not marketable enough?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it is those things. I think it's also he's convenient because you can technically, like, it's really funny because, like, this movie didn't strike me as a movie that really, like, there's magic in this movie, but there really isn't magic in this movie.
I mean, I would say that there certainly is more magic in this than there was in the previous one.
Yes, but
at least less, like, carefully Thor-ish magic, where in the first one they were really like, oh geez, do we have to do magic? Like, can we explain it in some way? Like the ancient one is like, I'm sorry, it's not like, you call it magic, but like, it's not, you were really kind of critical of it because you were like, hey, what the hell? Like, just roll with it. And then the second one, they're like, all right, musical notes, like, yeah, all right, magic. It's magic. Evil books.
Well, we'll get into it. We'll get more into that, and it's like, it's a step in the right direction. Like I said, like, I don't think by Doctor Strange 3 that, like, they'll
figure it out.
They'll have figured it out. And even if they do, that's really sad that it would take 3 movies to get there.
3 $200 million movies.
Yeah, that exactly.
It's fair.
So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this one. Subjectively as a Doctor Strange fan, and objectively as a movie going fan. That didn't really do it for me.
No.
And I'm just imagining the comments, and I don't care. So,
well, you're not here to hear contrary. We're not here to agree with you.
Nope.
Especially against our own personal opinions.
Right. So,
that's the non-spoiler review.
Yeah.
Or the non-spoiler review.
Yes.
Before we jump into the spoiler review, let's read a few of the super chats that are here in the show.
Yeah.
I believe Brian.
I think I can also say non-spoilery that I know, and like, I know this is the statement. Maybe not. I'm sure I'm going to say something else later on that gets more people mad at me. Again, I don't care.
No, you're not doing it to poke the bear.
Maybe I'm just channeling my inner, like, RLM right now, but I just don't care. But like, I was worried about Sam Raimi.
You were like one of the few when they announced Sam Raimi was going to direct this movie. After Scott Derrickson left the movie.
Yep, and I don't think I was wrong to be worried after this, because I think people thought they were going to get one type of Sam Raimi, and they got the other one, which is the one I was worried about.
Because I think that I remember thinking, well, I like Sam Raimi.
I know.
And I think that Sam Raimi likes Doctor Strange as a character. At least that's the impression I got.
Right.
Out of the 3 Spider-Man films that he directed, there's one other Marvel reference, and it's him.
Sure.
So I thought maybe that's his way of saying he's a big Doctor Strange fan.
Right.
But it's going to be within a box. It's not going to be Sam Raimi unhinged. It's not just going to be a Sam Raimi flick starring Doctor Strange. And it's not going to be like, Doctor Strange goes to a cabin in the woods somewhere, and he picks up the Darkhold, and he unwittingly resurrects a bunch of undeadites.
I'm really glad it wasn't.
Oh no, that would not have been a Doctor Strange movie
because
either.
Like, that's not like his take on horror isn't my, like, I enjoy it, but it's not my, like,
you don't watch a Sam Raimi movie to experience what you like as a horror film,
right?
You like Sam Raimi movies
because it's just fun. It's
because they're fun.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that Raimi and Michael Waldron were a good combo
I don't think they were a combo in any way. Michael Waldron wrote that script, whether like Raimi was directing it or like, you know, Laurence Olivier was going to direct the movie.
Like, usually, like not usually, but sometimes, hopefully, you have like a script and then you find a director that fits the tone of the script.
No, yeah, exactly. I don't think that was what happened here.
And I'm not saying that this was a stellar script at all.
No, it was not.
By any stretch of the imagination. But getting what you thought was the Band-Aid of just throwing Sam Raimi at it,
I think that's what they did.
Wasn't gonna fix it.
That's
and
like,
it actually highlighted the problems more than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you like accidentally, you know, like make a mark on a wall someplace and then you try to clean it off and you make it worse.
Mess.
And it's like it's just more obvious.
Well, I remember when you said one of your original criticisms when they cast Benedict Cumberbatch for Doctor Strange was that you were like, they kind of stunt casted him.
Yeah.
Because they didn't believe in him.
Yeah.
I believe that there's actually something like that here where they stunt directed it.
Yeah.
Where they said, okay, we don't really have a great movie here based on the script. And according to Benedict Cumberbatch in an interview recently, he said that there was no third act when they started filming.
Yeah. No,
I think when they put Sam Raimi in there, people went like, "Oh hell yeah, like Sam Raimi, that's awesome."
They just made assumptions.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, look, if Sam Raimi's going to direct something, I am going to make assumptions about what that movie is going to look like, feel like, tonally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam and Ivan didn't write this flick. You know, this is not like for better or worse. I mean, like, and I know that you would like to see like an actual straight up 1-to-1, or at the very least a faithful adaptation of Doctor Strange on celluloid, as opposed to seeing what Sam and Ivan would do with the Doctor Strange movie. Like, you know, Sam Raimi, Doctor Strange by way of Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Which is not what you would like. I think I would love to see something like that. But again, it would be more goofy,
right,
and less respectful of the material, or
and that's the thing. So now instead, imagine your favorite character, or a character who should have like, yes, there's Ditko and there's silliness, but there's an air of seriousness in the way that he's been portrayed so far.
Well, he takes himself seriously, like he is the rod or the guiding rod throughout the movie or the story of Doctor Strange.
Right,
his universe is fantastical, but
yeah. So then imagine though applying a director can't take that seriously,
right?
And it's like, well, because it's not a character that you maybe care about, you don't understand why someone like me would go like, that's a bad decision,
right? Like, but no, it's okay because I've always assumed Doctor Strange is goofy, so why not make a goofy Doctor Strange movie?
Right.
And it's like the same reason why I would not want to see like a goofy Batman movie. Like, why, you know, maybe as a child I thought Batman 66 was fun, but like as an adult, that's not the kind of movie I want to watch.
And so like subjectively, I was like, that's not a great idea. And I know a lot of people are like, you know, you can't blame Raimi because, you know, he wasn't allowed to do what he really wanted. And it's like, if you're a director, right? And like I've watched more movies with Raimi than I think you might think I have.
Right.
Like since like I'm not like I watch his movies, but I'm not like, I never think to myself, oh man,
I can't wait to watch another Sam Raimi.
I can't wait to see the next Sam Raimi production.
Well, that's because like one of the last ones was Oz the Great and Powerful, and it's like pass.
Right. But like Raimi does have some range.
He does, yeah.
A little bit. It's not huge, and he still can't help himself sometimes.
No, Darkman and Spider-Man are basically the same movie.
You're gonna get a little something here every once in a while. Like that's a Raimiism. You're gonna get that, right?
Yes.
You're gonna get a Bruce Campbell in there.
Which is fine.
Yeah. But I immediately was like, he's not going to go a more subdued Sam Raimi.
No.
And like he's basically going to go like, I don't care what the script says, I want to do this.
Well, and he has the right because he's Sam Raimi. Like I directed the movies that defined the superhero genre for the modern age.
If you're told I have to use the script.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, but I want to do this thing, then like at the end of the day, the product you come out with isn't going to make you happy. It's not going to make the studio happy. I mean, studio's going to be happy though, honestly, because it made money.
Yeah, it did make money.
They don't care. They're not going to care.
Regardless.
But like, you know, you're not going to be satisfied with this product. Like, and I'm not saying I wish he had passed on it, but like, I kind of do. I kind of like,
more like I wish that Sam Raimi had worked with like a writing partner that he knew and then had a year to retool it.
Yeah, that would have been a totally different situation then. But they didn't have time for that.
No.
You know?
No, this like had to come out.
Yeah, either that or like as much as like I know for some people they're like, if you do anything differently, it's good. And it's like that's not accurate in my opinion. In my opinion, that's not an accurate statement.
You mean just like it breaks from the formula of the MCU?
Yeah. And it's like I don't agree with that statement.
And not because you're a defender of the MCU as a formula. It's because you don't believe that just because something's different
makes it good. Yeah, that's just not like a philosophy I have. But like, so like, part of me wishes they had gotten a director that had a little less style, for like to match with what like whatever Marvel needed this movie to do. Like, Sam Raimi probably wasn't the right choice to helm that script. If that script was unmoving,
right. Which
regardless of not having a third act,
had to be. That's
like,
the thing. Like
if you're like, at the end of the day, these things have to happen, then like maybe Raimi wasn't the best pick to ferry that.
Yeah. Well, and what's frustrating is at the end of the day, for me, nothing in this movie needed to happen. Like, there is nothing at the end of this film that makes the MCU different. There is one significant thing that they could take or leave.
Yeah.
But it is significant. I think it is the big thing. And I think it's what it is. This thing actually is the Thanos turning around moment. And it is, but I think if you are so dazzled by all of the supposed cameos that might have or might not have appeared in this movie, or the additional characters that appear, or the alternate universes that you could see, the implications of the character, your journey with Doctor Strange as a character, if you like him or not, it will get lost. This crucial fact that is carried over from Loki, WandaVision, and this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later when we get into spoilers. But but that is the one thing. And it's one thing that you didn't need to put in this movie to make it happen.
No.
So and that's the case, then you're just giving us Doctor Strange 2, which, if you're going to do that,
then like
go all in.
Then the script could have been anything. And then I think Raimi, like, I'm not saying I would have still enjoyed that, but then I think it would have been a better fit. But if you said, listen, this is what the script has to be, and I'm still going to bring in a hyper stylized director, and that director doesn't maybe jive with the script, then this isn't gonna, you're going to get what you ended up getting.
Like, how come Thor 4 can be a rock opera, but we really can't get like not even a standard, but at least like a true Doctor Strange
seemingly
movie.
Thor gets to be whatever Thor wants to be.
Whatever he wants to be, not what MCU needs to be.
And like, Doctor Strange now is saying with this movie is like you get to clean up some stuff. You get to finish the plot threads of some other things.
I think that's because there is no Iron Man anymore.
I guess.
I think it's because who's the star of the MCU? Like, who's the biggest glue now?
Yeah.
And I think it's Doctor Strange. And I think that's unfortunate because as a result, he has a lot of work to do.
But even still,
that he doesn't need to do.
Movies were about Iron Man.
They were always about Iron Man. That's the most frustrating thing, is that those Iron Man movies, like Iron Man 2, notwithstanding, because Iron Man 2 also backdoor introduced Black Widow, but she was an Iron Man supporting character in that movie, even if she had larger implications and became an Avenger.
Yeah.
Iron Man 1 and 2 and 3 are all about Tony Stark as a character.
Yeah.
This movie is somewhere deep beneath all of the stuff that happens. I think they think it's about Doctor Strange, but it's so one-dimensional and so basic that who cares?
Believe that too. I think in their heart of hearts, they're like, no, we did do a Doctor Strange movie. And I'm like,
yeah, we told a story with an arc that takes Doctor Strange from one place to another, and he's changed.
Sure, but it's an arc that no one was asking for.
No.
And it's an arc that, like, the first movie doesn't set up. Nothing with him in it since then has set up.
No.
And like, honestly, No Way Home, like, makes it very obvious that like he's in a very different place than where he is in this movie.
Right.
And like, just this, like, nothing connects, right? And I think part of the reason why Thor gets to be what Thor wants to be is because Thor came first, before Doctor Strange. Like, he's been there.
Yeah.
And I think because he has a director that cares.
Right.
And do not put words in my mouth that I'm saying that Raimi didn't care, but this is Raimi's first like MCU movie. Like, this is his first, like, I'm going to try this character. He didn't make the first movie, and he hasn't been around for any of the other ones.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, Waititi only made the one Thor movie.
I know.
But then got to make the next Thor movie.
Right.
And nobody liked the last two Thor movies.
Right.
Right? Like, and I'm not saying that nobody liked them, but like, Ken Branagh introduced Thor. That was his job. Boom. There you go. And then you got the second one.
Which was
which
largely, the second one really did what this movie kind of had to do.
Yeah, that was work. But even then, it doesn't really do much. It's even Thor: The Dark World is about Thor.
It is.
There is no other superhero in that movie. There's no cameos. There's no surprises. There's just more world building for Thor. Which, why? You know, especially at that point. And I think that's also the thing is, because that movie stumbled and because it was a problem, it put a burr in Hemsworth's shoe.
Yeah.
And it made him go like, yo, I'm not here to be the boring Avenger.
Right. I'm the fun one.
Right. Like I want to have fun. I want to be fun. I want to do something different with this character. You know, if Cabbage Patch wants to like, you know, swing his cape around, maybe he should be like, yo, I'm not here to like carry the MCU or be the bridge for the next phase. Like I want to have a character arc.
Right. Which makes me question, because I know we've seen him like holding comics.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how much do you really know? Like how much do you know about the Gear Wars?
The reality is I've never seen Robert Downey Jr. hold a comic book in my life.
Right.
So I don't, you know, I don't like, begrudge them not knowing.
No, I don't.
Material.
But like, I'm like, I wonder if he like knows how much there is to his character.
Right.
You know, like they mention one thing about his history in this movie, but not another thing.
Yeah.
About his history in this movie.
That would be mentioned in the same sentence.
Yeah. But I guess they don't want to deal with that.
Probably not.
And I guess that's fine. But like, they're not doing themselves any favors by not letting us get to know Doctor Strange, even if it's like getting to know like a standoffish character, because like that's what Doctor Strange is in the other movies, because seemingly he's just too damn busy, right? Even though he's not Sorcerer Supreme anymore. There was a window in other movies where I guess he was, and then he wasn't. So we really haven't seen that, but like it has been mentioned because Wong is now Sorcerer Supreme. But in theory, you know, characters should drop in. Strange should be super busy, you know, being Sorcerer Supreme, and like be put off by like what could you possibly have to ask me that would should like take me away from actually defending the cosmos.
There's actually
and
more implied character development in that, in his absences, like at the end of Shang-Chi, when you see like the new Avengers or whatever that council's supposed to be, and Doctor Strange ain't on it.
No.
And it's like, you can imagine Bruce Banner or somebody calling him and being like, listen, like, we need to start setting up things and we need to give you a holographic phone call machine. And he's like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't want that. But I mean, that's also because like Wong's in a different role.
But yeah, Wong is so important to being Sorcerer Supreme because he has to do cage fighting.
Well, yes, he needs to do that. Let's not forget that happened.
As Sorcerer Supreme, that is all obviously his purview.
I mean, to be fair, you know, Strange gets around. And I mean, we're just not getting to know him in any way, shape, or form, so that like when anything emotional or whatever like comes up,
the only thing that's emotional about him is the fact that he's in love when he's not in any other movie.
Yeah, apparently. Now we're getting like we're getting on a line here a little bit. So let's be careful there until we're ready to let everyone head out for the spoiler part of this. But my main criticisms about this movie is that it's strictly not about Doctor Strange. He is or
if it is superficial.
He is, to me, I think what got me the most is through a lot of this movie, he's the ride-along character. He's the character, for some reason, that we're being introduced to this wonderful, like, wondrous world, right? And I'm like, the wizard, right? As you keep calling him in the MCU, right? Like the magic man's the guy who's
like one character who doesn't call him a wizard. Yeah. Bucky.
Yeah. I know.
He is a sorcerer.
Yeah. Which, thank you, Bucky. High five, but not with that arm. I'll do the other side.
Yeah.
But like that irked me in a way where I was just like, I'm not saying he should be all knowing and all knowledgeable, but like he's like, wait, what? Yeah. And I'm like, what would you say you do here?
He asks questions about things he already knows the answers to in previous movies.
Yeah. So, and along with that, it's just like the script is not terribly good. It's the story.
It's not tight.
It's not tight at all. There's
quite loose.
Tighten it up. Too loose. There's clunky dialogue. There's things happen just because the script says it happens. And I'm not saying like they like force plot or it doesn't make any sense. It's just it feels like the script's going through the motions of being a movie.
Yes.
Like and now a fight and now a this. And I don't know if it's also because of the fact that like the look of this movie from like scene to scene sometimes are like two different movies put together. And again, because Raimi wants to do some stuff that like fits in certain moments, but then it doesn't fit at all in other moments. So then you're just jumping through these themes or these like, I just these overall these looks, and I'm sure like someone might be like, oh, but like that like kind of goes with the Multiverse of Madness thing. Except no, because we get like a peek into that, and then not even really go that deep into the multiverse.
Yeah,
but it just makes things really stand out. Like for me, some of the editing is just clunky.
Mm-hmm.
The editing is like clunky, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, which is odd because this is Raimi's editor.
I know.
But I think it's because maybe if Raimi's editor is used to working with Raimi,
Yeah.
then he's probably not used to working with this script.
Yeah.
This beast of a story that
Mhm.
isn't really a story.
No.
You
No.
know, there are sequences that work. I think
so.
Sequences that but like you said, they themselves feel like they're part of a multiverse where it's like, oh, here's the part of the movie where this looks and feels completely different from that part of the movie,
Right.
but like it's not
Right. And
done intentionally.
No, and I'll get like when we go elsewhere, I'll give you that. Fine, that gets to look differently, but like there's just totally different tonal feelings in same locations.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's almost like because that's because Unit 1 shot this and Unit 2 shot that. Like that's what it feels like sometimes. And it's like
Right. You're very aware watching a movie right now.
That's literally it. Like there is like listen, we all know when we go to the theater, you're watching a movie and a lot of people went into like making this happen and like they all worked really hard, even if like not everybody believed in it or whatever. I don't know. But like there was like moments in there where I'm just like, I am watching a movie.
Right.
I'm
watching a production.
I am watching people work.
Yeah. Or not.
True. So, all right, let's get into super chat so we can talk more about spoiler stuff. So we'll.
I like it. We dedicated the first half of the show to non-spoilers.
We did
so you got that.
There you go.
Brian Rowland says also, hope everyone is feeling better. Loved the last GBU. Also, the Jurassic League. Need I say more? Indeed, we'll talk about that at the end of the hour. But yeah, man, we did an episode of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly where we talked about Dark Spider-Man What If comics. So if you like multiverses, check out that episode of GBU.
Dude, the comments are already starting.
Oh no!
This is amazing. Hang on. Where did it go? I love it. I think it said, "Do y'all just watch these movies just to complain?"
Chocobo Kid.
I freaking love that.
Keep up the good work. Love the channel and the content. It's very magical.
My friend
Thank you
who said that. Go watch our talk of the Batman. Go watch our talk of Eternals.
Oh, of course you like Batman and Eternals, that woke garbage that you enjoy so much. I've got an answer for everything.
I bet you do.
Ray Farr, OMG, love the movie so much because finally Sam and Bruce got MCU money now. I love 30% of this, hated the other 30%, and was meh on 40. So yeah, listen, if this results in Sam Raimi suddenly getting like a big chunk of money so he can do like Drag Me to Hell 2
fine
or something, like
no, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
But yeah, Land and Sea, I had high hopes for Raimi. That Raimi would click with this Ditko character just as he clicked with Spidey. That's true. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi directed 2 Ditko characters.
Yeah.
Movie seemed to stretch itself thin with the America Chavez Wanda heel turn plus gimmicky Illuminati.
Yeah.
Those are some of my 3, like those that's like the trifecta. I didn't have as much of an issue with Wanda, but like we'll talk about her. But America and the Illuminati were some sticking points for me. Rusky 9110. So Tiff, what do you think Doctor Strange would do if the movie started the same way, but it was your Doctor Strange?
So first of all, like I didn't actually, that hard open, I was like, whoa, like cold open or whatever you want to call it.
I kind of liked it. I liked the fact that like these movies are like, screw it, we're starting.
I guess.
I appreciated it for being different. No, but honestly, like I was like, ooh. It shocked me into like paying attention, which I was like, thank you.
It made me worried.
That's fair.
I was like, but which was weird because like
that's all I've ever asked for though. Like in every superhero movie I ever see,
just go.
It's just go. Yeah. Or like do a thing where you beat a character, like beat a villain that is a one-off, and you're not going to do a whole movie about.
Yeah.
You know, like open your Spider-Man movie with him fighting Sandman or something.
Fair.
Like open your Doctor Strange movie with him dealing with not Shumagorath.
That's not what we opened with though.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, but
yeah, like, but if we had like, here's the thing. I know we had to do multiversal, and I know we had to deal with what we dealt with in the opening of that movie. Yeah. I would have rather have seen Doctor Strange just in the village dealing like with like some like small shopkeeps like magical woes.
Yes. What's the show you enjoy so much about the one guy who travels from place to place?
Mushishi?
Yeah, if it was just an episode of Mushishi for like 20 minutes or like
for 5 minutes.
6 minutes. Yeah. Like just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would my Doctor Strange have done? I mean, like clearly like he would have been more knowledgeable. He would have been the Sorcerer Supreme. And the villain wouldn't have been the villain alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything yet until we say for sure that we're doing spoilers.
Exactly.
So
Kingsport Cal, Tiff, don't worry about stating your own opinions.
I really don't, but thank
not
you
on
for
my
saying
own,
that.
not on our own channel.
No, I don't at this point. Like
Girk Pettis,
y'all watching. So
I was happy to see the Illuminati at first, but after 5 minutes of them being complete morons, I was so happy to see them go, especially weak, tiny Carter. We'll talk about that more, but I wasn't happy to see them go, but I have come around. I had an initial gut reaction to what occurs with the Illuminati. And now I'm kind of like,
yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a minute. Ray Farr, I will give this movie credit that most of the magic was neat. Less stupid firecracker magic, the better. I would rather watch Drag Me to Hell, though. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a movie, but like, yeah, I also am sick of the firecracker magic. I'm sick of Camertage. I'm ready for that to get wiped off the map.
I mean, Camertage is a place.
Well, it's just like, I'm just so sick of like how many hey Mordo, didn't you say there were too many sorcerers? How come there's still so many sorcerers? How come the only character development you get is a multiversal alternate version of yourself? How come we still have that real Baron Mordo at the end of Doctor Strange 1?
And that's the other thing too. Now you set yourself up that like Doctor Strange 3, you have to pick and choose from his rogues gallery because you can't do it all.
No,
because you wasted it. You wasted it on this one.
Yeah. Flywheel Shyster, haven't finished any MCU film lately. Didn't care for the last 3 or 4, honestly. Lol. Just heard you say channeling your inner RLM. Just watch their half in the bag, and it seems to be no Evil Dead 2. I can imagine Jay was very disappointed that there wasn't an Evil Dead 2 at the expense of Doctor Strange. Sean D, I think I'll go see that this week. Was it good? If you love those movies, you'll enjoy it. But like, if you don't, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Gar 55 Rocks 1. I personally am very mixed on the film. Loved some, didn't love some. Illuminati was let down. Wanda disappointed despite great acting. 7.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair criticism. I mean, honestly, if you loved it and you can explain it, or at the very least, if you like feel it in your heart, I get it. I'm not gonna like the point of a review isn't to sway you, and we're not trying to convince you otherwise. Like, I don't want you to not see color and enjoy chocolate anymore. We're trying to express our opinions about why we felt this way, and the fact that it's dissenting, or at the very least seemingly about an issue, I think is worthy of discussion.
I agree. No, I definitely agree. And like, what I want to do is hopefully give you, like, because I did look at this movie. I want you to know I looked at it objectively and subjectively. Like, I did try to do everything I could where it was just like, all right, why am I annoyed about this? Is it because I'm a fan, or is it because something's off?
Right.
So I really tried to look at it from that. And it's also just because there are a lot of people out there yelling both sides.
Yes.
It's like, hey, maybe instead of just yelling, we could have an actual discourse.
Right.
Some of the comments don't agree, but
who cares?
I don't care.
I
just want you to know I am looking occasionally.
Well, Girk Pecta says, I am really hoping we get Emily Blunt as Sue Storm because she's always awesome. But I never wanted Krasinski as Reed, and he's even worse than I thought.
We're
officially in spoilers, but I think you knew that already, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Illuminati as in its own kind of section, and we'll get into it in a minute. But I never subscribed to the Krasinski Blunt casting decision, only because I was like, I saw A Quiet Place, I was like, nah. And like, I never really imagined Krasinski as Reed Richards, so I was like, nah, and he legitimately looks like the Photoshop job from the internet.
He really does. It's like they were just like, I don't know, just
like
do that.
The suit design, his beard,
and
like
that's
it
one
looked...
of the areas where I just feel like the movie showing its seams a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, like that was the case. I was hoping for the best because I really wanted to see like an MCU Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, we're just catching up. Because Girk Pectus also said, what Doctor Strange villains would you like to see in the sequel other than Nightmare? That's a given. I want to see Umar and Morgana.
I feel like you're gonna get Umar. I think you're definitely, fingers crossed, gonna get,
based on the post credits.
A like nod at least to Umar. I very much do want.
I don't
Nightmare.
think so.
Can a girl just have some hope?
Yeah. But this movie, after seeing it, I was genuinely worried about the MCU as a whole.
Yes, I know you were.
Because I was like, similarly to how, and listen, I was wrong. I've been wrong before. But at the end of Far From Home, I really enjoyed Far From Home. I really liked the J. Jonah Jameson thing, but I was like, oh man, that's kind of lazy. They just got J.K. Simmons again. And then they did the identity reveal, and I was like, you've ruined everything.
Yeah.
Like I was genuinely, I enjoyed Far From Home, and then I hated it. And then they did No Way Home with it, and I didn't want 3 Spider-Man in a movie. I was really hyped for just Spider-Man on the run.
Mm-hmm.
And there being this kind of like maybe Craven, maybe whatever. I don't care. But I was like, dude, you show me. Don't let me write your movie for you. You tell me what the movie is. But I was wrong. I loved it. You know, I enjoyed No Way Home, regardless of the things I was worried about them doing that they did. You know, Ray Farr, the entire Illuminati scene was a grinding halt. That entire scene was directed by Reddit. From the music fight to Wanna Getting Crushed was great. We'll get into there. He also mentions me when Rintrah wasn't on screen. Where is Rintrah? Is he safe? Is he all right? Why the hell is he the Build-A-Figure for Marvel Legends?
Seriously.
I don't know.
I was so disappointed he wasn't the Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he was like, no, Bruce, you have to be on screen.
Bruce
has to be on screen.
I do like, okay, so Bruce Campbell has a cameo. He's a multiversal pizza cart seller. And in that universe, they have like pizza balls. He's Pizza Poppy.
Because we have to say balls.
Is that what it is? I thought it was just because they're spheres, because it's weird.
I assumed it was like because in what happened in WandaVision.
Yeah. Well, in any case, my favorite moment in that sequence is when he says, Pizza Poppy's always got to get paid. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell is...
He's our fourth wall breaking character for this movie.
Bruce Campbell, yeah. His second fourth wall breaking moment is my favorite moment in the entire movie.
I was
so funny.
When that happened, I was like, I regretted spending money.
So funny to me.
I was so mad.
Because it's like
I was so mad.
Z Swimmer says, caught you guys live. Tiffany, have you read Nightmare Country? If so, what are your thoughts? Also frustrated DC for 1-star Squadron because it had Power Girl and Red Tornado, but way out of character.
I read the first issue. I think the second issue is coming out this week, and I dig it.
There you go. Gar55 rocks. Additionally, I will say I liked Sam's style and it hyped me up. I also feel that they should have been more Multiverse of Madness, less Darkhold.
Okay, so yes, based on the title, sure.
Yeah.
But although based on the title, also should have been more like Lovecraftian. Wasn't.
Yeah, it's hard to sell that to the kids.
To the kids. But it's Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been more, less Darkhold and more
Multiverse
Nightmare.
Well, that's the theme of the practically the movie. No.
So like
it's like the movie was only going to be about nightmares, and then they went multiverse.
Yeah, because there was like I was watching this movie, and I'm trying not to meta watch it. I'm just trying to watch it. Right, I'm just gonna watch this movie. I'm just here for it. Right, whatever. Yeah. Let's see where it goes. Try to go in with that clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. So I think I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Wanda has been talking about how she has the same dream over and over again. And I'm like, so clearly Nightmare is behind this. Right. And then I'm like, we're going along and we're running out of movie time. And I'm like,
man, when is Nightmare going to be in this movie?
When is that going to happen? And then I'm like, okay, wait, we're going to Wundagore Mountain, right? And like, they're going to go find the Darkhold. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Chthon.
Right.
Now, I would have preferred Nightmare to Chthon, but at least Chthon is a magically based villain, so okay.
And it would explain Wanda's behavior in her heel turn.
I'm like, he's getting in her head.
Like, why she went from being a fucking Avenger to being a straight-up horror movie villain?
Yeah, and I'm like, and he's clearly trying to get her there, not for the Darkhold, but to release him.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
No, we're not going to do that. No, she's just, okay.
No. Well, but Tiffany, don't you remember that she's possessed by the Darkhold? That's why she's evil. But then they destroyed it.
Right.
And she's still evil.
Yes.
Captain Coon.
Because reasons.
Yeah. Captain Coon says Wong's cage fights pay for his tuna melts. Yeah, I don't know what the Sorcerer Supreme pays, but probably not much. Sean D, don't forget Wong apparently had time to go to a Denny's or whatever with Abomination and plan a match with the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
Agreed. Jmail 1984. I was wondering if y'all had thoughts on Moon Knight. Tiffany didn't even finish it.
I didn't. I'm
sorry. I was not a big fan.
Well, and part of that wasn't just because I was like, no, it was you had to watch them, and then I fell behind.
Yeah.
And then it just...
I will say I liked episode 5.
Okay.
R. Jones. Hi guys. Don't know you. Know you haven't gotten to recommendations yet, but I wanted to recommend Blood Syndicate season 1 from Milestone, which dropped today. That's right. Yeah. Check out all the blood, or all the Milestone books. Dr. Bright. I wish I would have seen this movie with you guys. Okay, so how do you think they could improve the next film and the character going forward? Big question. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end. I want to hang on to that because it's a great question because it gives us a chance to be creative and have fun. But but we got to get into the show. Aki Dave, I liked it, but you can tell they're going to need that planning retreat. They did, which they did. They planned the next 10 years. Jared Watson, this movie had a lot of problems with the characterization of Doctor Strange and Wanda with this that they previously established about them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
no, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll take like shorthand, like saving time, letting like Wanda, like letting you kind of like do some of the work to assume like some, you know, Wanda's using the Darkhold. How long? If you use it for more than a couple days, I'm sure it'll corrupt you. You know, like I get it. But that being said, I think there were a couple of issues.
Right, but I guess it doesn't corrupt her because she's the thing in the...
Yeah, she's the thing in the wall.
She's the thing in the wall.
Which is just, she should have been the Cthulhu might have made it a lot more cool.
Legitimately.
It's like, no, you make you think that, but really, no, you're just the portal that I use to get out of here.
Yeah.
Kingsport Cal, at the end of the day, it's just a movie. I still got my comics. I'm just delighted to see these characters on screen. It's still surreal they make them. Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, but I imagine if you were a Phantom fan, you'd probably be pretty disappointed. Or if you were a big fan of The Shadow, you might be like, oh, that kind of sucked. Or if you like Tank Girl, you might be like, at least I got one. You know, like on one hand,
well, because
also the move, like because the comics take their P's and Q's from the movies, like now you're going to see influence from that into the comics.
Hopefully, I mean, I won't because there isn't a Doctor Strange book, so who cares?
No.
Yeah. So what do you want to jump into here?
Well, let's talk about. Okay, so. Let's talk about acting.
Okay.
Performances.
Sure.
Because we introduced some new characters.
Yes.
How'd you feel about about Cumberbatch's performance as Doctor Strange? I mean, like, I feel like he's being pulled in so many directions. It's really hard to get a beat on him actually being that character. But when he has those moments, I think for me, superhero movies are always best when they're quiet and they have like little character interactions. So I like when he's talking to people. I enjoyed his interactions.
I can't blame him for like the script.
No,
because he really wasn't afforded too much.
No.
There are a couple of moments where I'm like, yeah, that's fun. But like, this is where I'm going to take outside influence here because I've obviously seen him in the other MCU films and I like his characterization of it there. So I really can't fault him here. I don't think the material was there for him to work with.
I agree. Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch.
You know, I like her as an actress, and I think with what she was asked to do, I think she nailed what she was asked to do.
Yeah.
Do I agree with what they asked her to do? No, but like I think she nailed it. I do think, however, like when Raimi works with actors and actresses who are supposed to be doing these like over the top things, like a Bruce Campbell or the chick I can never remember who's from Drag Me to Hell. Like,
oh yeah,
there are people who are put like into these roles, and it's like, you can do this, right? Like you can do not only the like acting part of it, but the physical part of it as well. There were a couple of times for me that like that's not her,
right?
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's not her acting style.
Mm-hmm.
And so like some of that, like I was like, oh, like there's moments at the end with like the shadow things coming at her, and like it's so obvious she's reacting to nothing.
Yeah, no, they're not even like there's not even ping pong balls on sticks. Like she's just
like,
they're like just freak out. I don't know.
Yeah,
and it's
And I was like, ouch. Like, but that again, that's just occasionally where you see the movie showing its seams.
Yeah. I don't even think it's really even fair to ding Rachel McAdams for the character Christine Palmer because she shouldn't even be in the movie. No,
that's another thing for me is that there were so many, and I know it's because she's in like a multiversal version of Christine Palmer and like she knows about magic. But there's like moments where they're having conversations and she's talking about things, and I'm like, it's like this role was written for Clea.
Right, like they wrote out Rachel McAdams. Like there's a draft where they're like, what if she says no? Oh, well then we'll just make it Clea instead. And like we'll introduce her as like a multiversal replacement or something. You know, like there'll be this woman, maybe like, maybe he's in like that other alternate version, and Clea's working, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he falls in love with her. You know, from their interactions.
She's from the dark dimension.
No, I know, but like it's a multiversal variant. No, but yeah, she does get a lot of Clea dialogue.
Or I was just like, I'm like, okay,
right, what? Her character was artificially inflated from the first movie because they wanted to make it more relatable by having a romance subplot in there.
Yeah.
Which even then is so surface level, like where she in the original movie, they never really even dated. Like they dated like once and like a little bit.
Yeah.
And like when she goes to talk to him, when he first has his accident, he's just like, what are you looking for here? He completely breaks her down as a person, and she's like, oh, fuck you, and she leaves.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's it, right? Like, because like,
but and like that is why like I'm like, you know what, I respect like people for being like, I like the first Doctor Strange because like he doesn't fall into that part of the MCU formula where it's like if you have a movie about a character, there has to be a romance of some kind, right? I guess not. Cap 2 kind of gets away from that.
No, but I think Sharon is still.
That's true.
They're trying to they're pushing it.
But you know what I mean? Like that tends to be like the hero love interest.
Yeah.
That's got to happen.
Right.
And
but then they all fall apart, right? Like freaking Natalie Portman goes away for like at least 2 movies.
Right.
And, Sharon Carter, they threw that away.
Right.
The only thing that worked was Pepper Potts, and she goes away too in like 2 movies.
We didn't do it in the first one.
No.
Right. So they were like, okay. I'm like, that's all right. That's kind of
cool.
No,
but they do imply Rachel McAdams' character is like a person he's interested in, or at the very least, like you could see a future.
Sure, but no, you can't. Because they don't really play. You know what I mean?
Like,
it's not really there.
It's not important to the story.
Right.
They don't care.
I guess Ant-Man also didn't do it.
No, no, Ant-Man is definitely Hope.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Hope.
Yeah,
I forgot about Hope. I was thinking about his ex.
Oh yeah, no, which is actually more refreshing.
Yeah. But like, so for them to then shoehorn it into here to make it be like every other MCU movie in that regard, I was like, you just don't get who this man is.
No.
Okay.
Well, it's not marketable to have him like have a bunch of girls.
I get that.
But also, you could just not do that.
You could just not do that. He could just not be interested.
He could be sad for reasons that are not heartbreak.
Yeah. Because he has them.
I know. Okay, so the elephant in the room for me is America Chavez. I'm gonna butcher her name, and I apologize but I think it's Zachiti Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
America Chavez is not a character in this movie. She is she's the Ark of the Covenant. She's the Holy Grail. She's
a MacGuffin.
She's a MacGuffin. She could be replaced with a tape recorder. She has nothing to do, and she has nothing to offer. And it's a damn shame because, she's a character who represents, a demographic in the audience that is sorely lacking in its representation in a high-profile movie like this. And so when you have this opportunity, it should be with a well-rounded 3-dimensional character, and instead she is relegated to being like a flag in the game of Capture the Flag.
Yeah.
That being said, her acting is also not terribly good either.
It's like
it's
so hard.
Sorry, she's not very good.
I get you.
With what she's given to work with.
And that's really what it is, like, because the story, the scripting, the story, the like, it was not terribly good.
No,
it's like it's hard to tell where someone's acting ability stops or starts,
right? And
be like, just what could I possibly do with this?
Oh yeah, no. For 2/3 of the movie is her looking concerned,
right? And
it's just a face. It's just her going like, ugh. And it's like, I'm sorry that they left you alone and they didn't like direct you to anything other than being concerned or scared.
I was trying to think how often Raimi has worked with younger actors,
right?
Who aren't pretending to be young people,
right? Or deadites. And the fact is, if you are under the age of 20 in this movie, you are done a disservice because no one who is under 20 in this movie is bad or is good. I will say that Billy and Tommy, I'm going to give them a pass because they're children. I didn't even think they were terribly bad. The song was crappy, but it's children coming up with a song off the cuff, so I'll give it to them.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't really think about it. I did, once it started, want it to be over immediately. But such is the case whenever I interact with children anyway. So like I'm going to give it, that's points for realism. But they're MacGuffins too.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be characters. They are, because they will eventually become characters. But for now, they're just they're her. Like, Wanda wants 2 things. She wants a portal to get her to the children, and those 2 elements are also living, breathing people who have to be performed by actors.
Yes.
So, oh well, that's a shame. And then the rest, I feel bad for Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's a great actor, and he's relegated to being like grumpy, whatever. I'm sure he enjoyed the paycheck. He only had to work like 3 days.
But you know what you love to see is your magical characters having a fist fight.
I will say that at least it looked like it was actually a pretty decent fight.
It was okay.
Like, I think it was better than most,
Sure.
which is kind of neat. And it was like, hey, listen, like he taught Strange how to fight.
But like,
it's like that kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
I guess for me, it's like there's all right. So
yeah, why doesn't Mordo use magic?
well, he couldn't eventually. He uses the thing and then he can't. Right.
Uh-huh.
Like so, like they have a reason. But so it's so funny because it's like there's that image, like I mentioned before, of Cumberbatch holding the oath, right? And there's a moment in the oath at the end with Nicodemus West where he's like, you know, you think I'm all about magic, but like,
yeah, but I was trained by Wong.
And like it's a mic drop moment because you've built up to that.
Yeah.
Because it's like you think he's just only all about magic.
Yeah, and that would have been a really cool moment.
It's a really cool moment.
That would have been a really cool moment to ape off of and then put in this movie if it was actually addressed.
And earned.
Instead, it's just a quick fight.
Yeah, and
it
I'm
just
like,
happens.
well, we can't have that moment now.
No.
There's a lot of moments
you could just pretend like you didn't see that.
There's a lot of moments we can't have now because of this movie.
Yeah.
So
they do redos.
Sure.
They don't care.
Okay.
But yeah, and then there's the rest, and they all do a fine. There's nothing that stood out to me where I'm like, that's horrible.
I kind of like,
except for
I like Michael Stolberg as Nicodemus West.
Yes,
I was like
that had I promise
that for me. I was like, are we?
Oh, we're doing the oath?
Oh no, we're never gonna see him in the rest of the movie.
No.
Okay.
No, we might do him in the third one.
We had to pick and choose now.
Yeah. We put 6 movies into this one thing.
And that was a mistake.
So we could probably put 3 or 4.
I guess.
But yeah, no, I love that interaction between him and West.
Yeah.
That was a great moment where it was really like it addresses a thing that's part of the greater universe, but also implies the subtext. We don't really get a lot of context. Like if you didn't remember Nicodemus West from the last movie, like you're gonna be like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
You know? But it's fun. I was like, that's really cool. Not fun. It wasn't like a fun, whimsical scene like them talking about Spider-Man, which is like supposed to be fun, but also is like you dedicated like what 90 seconds in a movie that like you needed all that time to asking if Spider-Man shot webs out of his butt, which is a joke they already made in No Way Home. So it's like, really?
Yeah.
But is it interesting? Is it metatextually fun to have a guy who directed the beginning of the Spider-Man movie franchise do a movie about another Ditko creation where they talk about that character in a different context? I guess. Does it matter because it's like a movie and it's supposed to be like a piece of art that's like telling a story? No, but like you're grasping at straws at this point. So that yeah. All right, let's talk about the Illuminati or Wanda. Well, let's talk about Wanda's turn.
Sure.
Right, like and her portrayal and the whole journey, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think I buy it. And I appreciated us not wasting time because I heard Waldron talked about how he had 2 options. He could have done like where he was like, oh, I could have done she's the protagonist of the movie because obviously she is, because obviously Doctor Strange can't be in his own movie,
right?
Where the 2 of them go on a journey and then she heel turns at the end, or she's a villain the whole movie. And between the 2, I'll take the villain the whole movie. But it's the choice between like like a giant douche and a turd sandwich. So it's like, oh no. But I did appreciate that, like, we got that scene from the trailer where they're walking in the grove, and then it's just like, no, I'm a bad guy. Been a bad guy the whole time. But then to like set it up where it's like, I'm coming for you, and then you have a big stupid assault sequence like against Carmen. I'm like, this is all you're wasting time.
But see, that's why the other version would have removed that.
Yeah.
We would have just gone on the adventure.
Right, but then it would have been more about we would have had to spend more time developing Wanda's character, which we spent a whole show doing, and at the expense of Doctor Strange.
Well, we everything was at the expense of Doctor Strange anyway.
Right.
So
at least you would have gotten, I don't know, what, an earned heel turn from the villain?
I don't know. It just I don't know.
But
for me, like I am disappointed at how much real estate was given.
Yeah. I mean,
without any there's a way to, like I said, like it could have been Nightmare. It could have been Nightmare
or Chthon would have been fine either way. But like it wouldn't have made it so frustrating to watch a character like just unquestionably be evil and without any kind of enjoy it.
Right.
Like she's sadistically enjoying herself.
And admittedly, in her grief, but guided by something else.
Right. It's we got in there through the chinky arm.
In WandaVision, but through her own grief and guided unknowingly, she saves
A town.
Right?
Yeah.
So and then feels horrible about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we see her at the end of that, obviously with the Darkhold, which, by the way, R.I.P. people who didn't watch that, because apparently Disney was like, "Hey, this is required reading."
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, everyone watched it. It came out during the pandemic. It was like, if you didn't watch it, like, that movie wasn't for this movie wasn't for you.
Right.
But also, like, Feige had said, and again,
it was her grief in WandaVision, and in this, it's supposed to be her grief.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really come across like
No,
that. And I know it's supposed to be like
the stages of grief.
She's twisted by the Darkhold, or
well, I think it's like it went from being she's like sadness to anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's going through the 5 stages or whatever, and so
Yeah.
like this is her angry period where she's just and murderous too.
Right. And the movie feels out of order.
Yeah.
A little bit, because it's like, in this movie we need to bring up Strange's decisions from Endgame.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you just made a whole movie with Spider-Man. Now I know it was a Sony movie, technically.
Yeah, but Marvel produced it.
But you made a whole movie where Doctor Strange and Spider-Man have a fun romp together, and like nobody's really worried about that.
Yeah.
So now, like, we're gonna be like, okay, but I know time has passed, but now we need to like really hone, because like Nicodemus West brings it up, she brings it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, and I know it's like it just felt out of place. And I know that she's supposed to, again, be working through this grief and be, overrun or overwrought by it. But like, there is a version of Vision out there right now.
Right.
And
well, and like, you have access to the multiverse is a full frontal assault, including like mass murder, the way to go. And it's like, I imagine that, yeah, and I can imagine somebody saying like, yeah, but in real life, like, you don't really think rationally. It's like, yeah, it's not real life, and it's like, it's fake cartoon garbage.
Right.
Like, who cares?
And it's also interesting because the Wanda we left in WandaVision was a Wanda willing to let go of her children for the greater good of things, and this.
But then she wasn't, though. At the end, like in the post-credit scene, she's like, but not really.
Right. No, I understand that. Like, I know, I watched the show. But the thing that undoes her at the end, I'm like,
what?
Yeah, like, oh, okay, wait,
like that? I guess. I mean, like,
sure, because you
puppeted your alternate self's body,
yeah,
and murdered people,
yeah. So, like,
and then when she's like, it's gonna be okay, yeah,
like the Wanda from the show,
yeah,
like at one point would have been like, yes, undone by that, but she wouldn't have also done any of these actions.
No,
because we just need to have them happen.
Right.
We need to make it happen. And it's so funny because like they make sure to keep mentioning her her reality altering powers, right? And she's powered by the Darkhold. Why didn't she just make them?
Right. Why didn't she just make them like she would have in the comics? No, she's got to go get those. And it's like, you're in a multiverse. In every version, you keep your children, right? Why are you so hell-bent on this one?
Right. Or like, why don't you find one where you're gone?
Right. Yeah, where Vision survived and you died. No, because on the central finite curve, we only get a couple of shots.
There's
of this.
there's no universe. It's always with the children.
Yeah. Also, well, no, because it's always with the children, and I'm always in love with Christine Palmer. Always.
Always.
Cat Lara will defend for treat says, I knew I was in for a rough ride when they called not Shumagorath a henchman.
Yeah.
That was another, I was a little worried about that. I hated all those cameos. They looked awkward. I hope this means we won't get those actors again. Somebody wasted setups. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll get into that now. Because that was very disappointing. Nuke says, between Doctor Strange and Moon Knight, Marvel's new direction is not that great. Yikes. Yeah.
It's like with this, it's more that it was bad movie making decisions.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know what the direction really is, except I kind of do.
That's my concern. It's just like it's sloppy. And I know a lot of people didn't like the Eternals, but the Eternals was like, it was a tight movie. And it was like, again, I'm not talking about plot, actors, or anything like that. Like, I'm not talking about any of that. I mean, like, the overall look, it's polished.
Yeah.
It's a polished looking film. And this just wasn't.
No.
Like, there is some rough effects in this.
Yes.
Some rough effects.
Yeah.
That, like, I hope they fix in the digital release.
Right.
Because, like, it is
will.
real rough.
It
at
is
times,
a little
where
rough.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
you gonna finish those? Or are you
Right.
putting it out like this?
I didn't. Yeah. Kevin Myers, I do like that Cumberbatch and Olsen clearly love playing their characters. Also, John Kay's Jack Ryan show is ending. Interesting timing. Much love, you two. Thank you very much, Kevin. And yeah, I'm glad they like playing those characters. It means they get another chance.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's too bad you can't spend $200 million on like an oops.
Yeah.
Will I Am Golden, I like the movie, but as one of the 3 Black Bolt fans, I'm disappointed in how he was taken out so quickly. The same for Reed. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. So but we'll get into that. Trevingsley, thank you very much for your support. Rusky 9110. It seemed to me that in earlier drafts, the snap was supposed to be his PTSD and make him question himself. It's brought up early on, and then he goes to a universe where his other way was worse, but it got swept away. I didn't really feel that way. I didn't get that impression from this movie at all.
Well, you're saying in an earlier draft of the movie.
Yeah, well, it doesn't show.
Yeah, and like I don't know. Like it's the Doctor Strange you set up in other movies, like was like would not have felt like that.
Right.
And like,
yeah,
I looked, I saw.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
this
no.
is it.
Yeah, you saw the 14 million combinations. Man.
Yeah.
Lewis Berry says Multiverse of Madness is great. Wanda steals the show. Lizzie deserves Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress.
Lewis has been very, very chatty about how good this movie is.
Well, I'm glad he enjoys it.
I am glad he enjoyed it as well.
I hope I don't think the Academy doesn't tend to recognize superhero movies ever.
No.
Unless they're bat themed. But
yes.
But I don't see that happening either.
No.
So, hold out hope for you, man.
Yeah.
Zeberm says, I think that the best Doctor Strange movie was the animated one from the mid-2000s. I don't think we've ever seen that one yet. Or did we? It was if we did, it was like, 20 years ago. So
it was mid-2000s.
Yeah. Ray Farr, Doctor Strange, the biggest pimp in the 616 other than Daredevil, only wants Christine Palmer. Okay. Tiff, did you clap when you saw Clea? Did you clap when you saw her?
I did not. I was like, okay. You're going to, at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, you're going to be like, was this the movie you wanted?
Kinda, I guess.
I don't know. I do think it's amazing. Her costume, fairly comic book accurate. When you set it against the landscape of like Doctor Strange costumes that we've seen, it's weird looking now.
Yeah, it's a little.
And I'm like, no.
Maybe it's supposed to be because it's like from the Dark Dimension.
But she's not. No, she looks accurate.
Yeah, but everybody else doesn't. So now she looks wrong.
I know.
Yeah, I don't care for the hair down, but I think the whole look's going to change because it's just because they shot it clearly in like an hour.
Yeah.
And they just shot it against a green screen and they were like, that's that.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that she's not just a warrior and that she's also the sorcerer supreme of her universe.
I don't think that Marvel really gives a shit about what that means.
Okay.
Nurking 101, I think if for a 15-year-old, she did a fine job. Well, that's great. I'm glad you did. I think that for a 15-year-old, I've seen better acting from 15-year-olds, honestly, like in like stage plays. Ray Farr, sorry for the annoying super chats. No, it's fine. But if Pizza Papa always gets paid, I gotta make sure Comic Pop does too. Comic Papa, that's fucking awesome, man. Thank you. The Comic Papa always gets paid.
That's you.
Thank you. The Titan Zero. I hope the Krasinski casting was just a fun internet thing. Had my mindset on Glenn Howerton playing him. He was almost Star-Lord, and picking Mr. Fantastic saying Dennis Reynolds lines brings me joy. Yeah, man. Yeah, the John Krasinski thing. I didn't like it, but I also felt that he clearly only got to film like probably a day or two.
Yeah.
So like, and I don't think Sam Raimi, I would almost, I mean, like outside of the brutality of the deaths, I would question if he even directed the sequence.
Wondering the same thing.
But I think he did because I think it's supposed to be like, ugh.
Yeah. But like, yes, because it's so.
It's just so it looks very bad.
It's out of place even for the universe they're in.
Yeah,
that's what like.
Yeah, but like from the sequence, like because you got an Evil Dead chase sequence where like Elizabeth Olsen is chasing after them in the tunnels of the fucking like subterranean whatever the hell, and it's like you know what? It's a good looking shot. Like it's a good looking scene. It's fun. It's like clearly meant to be like invoking the horror movie monster chase. Sam Raimi's really good at that, and like that looks like a scene that was directed by a person who had storyboards and everything like that. That Illuminati shit looked like a fan film. It looked like a fan film. I'm sorry.
It did.
I will say I did like this. I did like the psychic plane that Professor X goes into, but even then, it was wasted with horrible dialogue that I am convinced they said, Patrick, if you want to say something, you can have a line here. Endeavors says Wanda was a cool villain, but if we see her again, it'll be really hard to redeem her after all the people she killed. That's what I said in the movie. We were watching it. Somebody said like, "You're a hero," or like good, whatever the fuck. And I was like, "Yeah," and you only had to kill 15 people to do it.
Yep.
Kevin Myers, odds on DS3 being Triumph and Torment? No.
I wish it were better, but I don't think it's very good.
No.
But you know what? Maybe it is, because then it wouldn't really be a Doctor Strange movie. It'd be a Doctor Doom movie. And if anything,
Marvel is never afraid to make a Doctor Strange movie not be a Doctor Strange. Ali Alziadi, yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess the first one technically was.
It's mostly about him. That's him. I thought Wanda's change of heart and America's sudden ability to control her powers felt so contrived and unsatisfying.
It felt like they ran out of movie.
Yeah.
They're like, and this is where it happens.
Yeah. Rusky 9110, Wanda in this reminded me of Gotham in the Tom King Batman book. Someone with extreme power. The Gotham being the character named Gotham.
Yeah, not the town.
Not the town. Extreme power, trying to desperately to hold on to something together and can't. I would like to have seen that, but I didn't get the impression that she couldn't. Like, I didn't doubt for a second she wasn't in control.
Right. And here's the thing. Like, I know, like, I'm sure they didn't maybe want to do the Chthon thing because they didn't want to put her in a position of just being used by someone else.
Yeah.
But like, it could have also just been that, like, Chthon's like, it was easy because you wanted to.
Right.
And I just helped you along.
Right. That would have been.
Because, like, there's.
I mean, and maybe they'll do that in the next thing or in another season
like,
or something.
It's just literally like, you didn't do it all on your own, but all I had to do was a little push.
Right. It didn't take much.
It didn't take much, and I got you there.
Yeah, but I just need you to birth me into the world.
But, like, come on, let me out.
Yeah.
Or let me in.
Yeah. Homecoming hero, Doctor Strange in the multiverse of not getting a date with Rachel no matter what universe he's in. At least he has a cool potential wizard girlfriend now. Yeah.
Well, okay, so spoilers, everybody. Clea's his wife.
Yes.
That's what's so freaking frustrating for me is in the comics, Clea and he are married.
Or at least were.
At one point or another, they were married.
Yeah.
Like, those two are together. Strange has lots of affairs with other women.
Right.
Not
like, one would argue
married.
that he's in love with, like, most of them. Like,
he loves them all.
He liked Night Nurse. He let her live in the Sanctum for a long time. Like, he was with Clea to the point where he was married to her. He imagines himself sleeping with Wanda at certain intervals. Like, he has had dalliances with plenty of women.
He slept with Elektra recently.
Yeah. There you go.
Like, that's just what he does. And I'm not saying you need to put that on.
We don't need to make that the movie.
Like, it's so weird how much they're pushing Rachel McAdams. And I'm like, there's literally a character.
Yeah.
And
somebody
she's
suggested that maybe it's
inclined.
because people, like, they don't want people to think that he's gay.
Just why not bring Clea in?
You're right. Because that's too much it's bad enough we got to make one match.
You've already gone to the dark dimension.
I know. Dan V900 says, from test screenings going back to late August, the film originally opened with Wanda killing 616 Mordo, so it could have been worse, I guess, for him. Yeah, I guess that's true.
That would have been
pretty crappy.
I would have been like, okay, well.
Yeah, I'm done. That would have been really disappointing for Chiwetel Ejiofor. It's like, oh, cool. I don't know if either of you saw it, but Everything Everywhere All at Once was a better multiverse film that took advantage of the possibilities a lot more. Movie is just insane.
I really want to see that. And is it the Northerner?
The Northerner, yeah.
Is it the Northerner?
The Northman?
Northman. I don't.
The Viking movie.
The Eggers movie.
The Eggers movie.
The Vivitch movie.
The Happy Masquerader. Love the recent interview with King Sal. You guys have a great chemistry. Try roping him into co-hosting a podcast.
They really do. I freaking love, like, when you two talk. Like,
it's fun.
You can talk about anything. I'm just listening.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I will just listen.
He's great. I don't want to waste his time with a straight up show, but yeah, I'd love to have him back on. Jacob Montez. All I could think when Doctor Strange was telling other universe Christine he loves her was, "You don't know that woman. She is a completely different person."
Yes.
Yeah, that's very true. And Alziadi, Strange not being Sorcerer Supreme drove me crazy.
Is it the Northman? Wait, hang on, scroll down. Someone like up there.
The Northman.
Okay, thank you. I was like,
thank you.
I could not remember what it's called.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that movie.
I know.
Yes. No, him not being Sorcerer Supreme, like, I
don't understand the insistence that they need him to not be.
And I know we're going to talk about the Illuminati. Can we talk really quickly though about the Book of Ashanti and how it's there for a hot second and then is burned?
And then they burn it and it's gone forever.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
Because it's like
it just means they don't care.
The wrong message here, folks. Like, you want to get rid of something, get rid of the damn sling rings.
Right. Yeah.
But no.
I was convinced we were going to get that.
I know, but no, let's burn the Book of
Ashanti.
Ashanti.
No, I was convinced we were going to get a scene where he bumps into another Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need a ring.
Why don't you just turn the Wanda Watum into a plumber?
Right.
A
plunger.
A plunger. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you run into another one. And
Yeah,
they
where
don't
he's
have
like,
it.
you need a ring to teleport? What's wrong with you? Just make a portal.
Yeah, just do it.
No. Yeah, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
And that would then embolden him to be like, what else do I not know? You know?
He shouldn't not know things. I don't. It just that really like that for me was like the movie going like, you're never gonna get it.
You're not gonna get that.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like we spent all that time getting to this thing, and I understand that is such a movie trope. You get to the thing you think you want, it's not really what you need. We're gonna do it another way, whatever. It can't end there, fine.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to burn it.
No. But we already destroyed the Darkhold.
So?
No, I mean we can't have both books. Also, I don't care.
Oh, right.
That's legitimately just I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I used it because like I read a thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. But yeah, so the Illuminati, we introduced characters people have been waiting, 10 plus years to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mutants, Inhumans, Fantastic Four. Oh, and Captain Carter's also there. Yeah. And Captain Marvel as well. The Captain Marvel thing feels like an afterthought. I felt kind of bad for that actor who was originally like Monica Rambeau's mom from the first Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I was like, sorry you got overshadowed. Like, you're in it. You would have been Captain Marvel, I guess. I guess that's the idea. Whatever. No wonder nobody would have guessed that was the character in the Illuminati. And so no wonder nobody guessed that was who it was when they showed like that shot of her, like all energied out. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, it's Tony Stark. It's this, that, and the other thing. It's like, nope, it's no one you expected. But that being said, Captain Carter, people were the most excited about that. Out of the 10 people in the theater that we saw it in, which by the way, weird, was that people were like, yay, Captain Carter.
I was the most excited about that just because I really like Haley Atwell.
She's great.
And it was exciting to see her in a suit.
Yeah. And then she got cut in half by Iron Shield.
She did. That did happen.
And it looked really cheap and bad. And it wasn't like, and they could show a man's brains getting blown out into his horribly CG'd mask, but they couldn't show a person getting cut clean in half by a shield.
Right.
That they had to do like that, like she looked like she was against a green screen. It was horrible.
Right. And I thought it was convenient that after she unmakes Reed and kills Black Bolt with her powers, I guess Wanda was like, I'm not gonna use my powers anymore.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop that.
I'm in a bit of a rush, but you know what? I'm gonna take a minute.
Yeah, I'll fight you.
I'm gonna take a minute.
Yeah, but I was excited for her because I was like, good for that character. I like Haley Atwell. Good, give her something to do.
Yeah.
She's dead. But I'm sure it's like an alternate version of the one you saw from What If, so it's not her. So you can bring her back, I guess, if you want. Unless you want to confuse the shit out of your audience. Professor X got to be in there. That was really tragic because Patrick Stewart, he's in the yellow thing. They played the animated series theme. The John Krasinski looking like a Photoshop job and the animated series theme was all you needed to know before you were like, oh, so Twitter and Reddit made this scene. Like this is a sequence that was dictated entirely by like fandom culture, like willing it into existence.
Yeah. Like it doesn't, but it does undermine a little bit inevitably when they get to actually make these movies.
Because it's like now the first time you've ever seen a mutant on screen is a fake version of Professor. It's not the Singerverse Professor X, and it's not the whatever the hell his name is. The first class version. Mm-hmm. You're getting some hodgepodge of like the animated series and the original movies. I don't know. And you waited too long. You got like post Picard Patrick Stewart. He tries, but it's like it's too far.
Yeah.
Black Bolt, the dude from the friggin' show. Sure.
Right.
He also clearly didn't want to wear a mask because they just CG'd that thing on his face. It looks horrible. It's like, was it neat that he's wearing the mask? That was one of those things where like my brain was like attacking itself because I'm looking at it and I'm like, cool, they did the mask. Oh my God, it looks horrible. And it's like, I can't like, and that's the thing. Like, that's why like that's why there's always so many angry comments, because it's like, I can never just like be like, they did the thing. Because like, if they did it shitty, what's the point of doing it? Like, we had it not.
Right.
Like, we didn't have it for so long.
Yeah.
We could not have it for a little longer and then have them do it right than the first time.
Right.
But instead, they did it, and it's not worth it to clap if it's crappy. And so, and like, that actor is not great as Black Bolt.
Right.
I've seen enough of that horrible show
So-
to say he's not very good. Now, that being said, if you're just going to put all these characters in here to murder them, that's really weirdly mean-spirited anyway.
It's all right. So here's what's also confusing to me. So this universe is Baron Mordo is exactly played by the same actor
Same
as
actor.
our universe.
Right.
Haley Atwell.
Same actor.
This is Black Bolt.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It was a TV, so it's not
Captain Marvel, technically.
Yep.
An actor
same actor from that universe.
From that universe. Then you got Reed, and you've got Professor X.
Right. So are those the actors of that universe, or are those the only ones that look differently?
Because, like, how old is Patrick Stewart?
He's in his 80s. Like,
So,
you're never going to do
like,
that. You're never going to
that's
get him back.
So, like, that's just. It was weird.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, because I think Cumberbatch also plays the Strange, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like everyone
plays themselves.
or
So
at least is a representative of like the movie that they
came from.
They could have come from.
Yeah.
Except for maybe those two.
Yeah. Well, it has to be those two, unless it isn't, you know, because
or then it's just that one
that it's
and that's bizarre.
Yes. Yeah, but my first reaction to like the sequence of like them being introduced, because Black Bolt looked weird, because the Professor X thing was confusing, because the Krasinski thing was he wasn't very good, or at the very least, like, I didn't buy it.
No.
And I think the biggest problem was just because I was so distracted by the fact that they did the thing that the fandom begged them to do.
Right.
Like, enough vocal audience members like pitched a fit to the point where they willed John Krasinski into existence as Reed Richards.
That did happen.
Like, that wasn't, it's not that they picked the best person for the job, it's that they picked the person the audience would have clapped the hardest at.
Right. And like it just
And ironically, no one in our theater clapped at all.
No, and honestly, he just looks like John Krasinski in a costume.
Yes.
Like,
and
he's not being Mr. Fantastic. And that
No.
is the problem though when you cast an actor who's well known.
Right.
It's like you get
Which the MCU is predicated on, so I'm not going to ding them that hard. But
well,
like,
yes and no. I mean, like Robert Downey Jr. well known, but like,
right, but
not
like
really.
more well known because of Iron Man now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna. No one's a huge Chaplin fan.
Right. I'd say the same thing with Hemsworth.
Yeah, no one really liked. No one remembers Hemsworth from Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
man.
I do.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like, yeah, man, it was rough. It was a rough sequence, and then, but I remember my first reaction to like having them all get murdered was like, this is needlessly brutal. For everything else in this movie that is like violent,
for a bunch of characters that I didn't really care about, like it was mean-spirited.
It seemed mean-spirited. Like, it seemed like it was, because it's either that like the MCU is, or the producers are like, fuck you, audience, for wanting all this.
Mm-hmm.
Watch them die. Or if they're like, you're right, audience, here they are, and we murdered them. Either way, that sucks. I don't know what else to think about that sequence.
Right.
Like, it's just the whole sequence. It's like, was it cute to see Professor X like help out Doctor Strange? Kinda, yeah. Like, was it neat to see Reed Richards stretch in the MCU? It didn't look very good because it looked hastily put together. Like, the whole thing looked really cheap. And that's the biggest problem for me. Was like, it was cheap.
Yeah.
You know, like the Shumagorath sequence, which I love that they didn't even call him friggin' anything.
No,
like,
well,
I know that, like, because they
right?
couldn't call him that, but they called him the other thing in the Lego set or whatever. No, they didn't use any name.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like it looks fine. Like, it looked like a fight in the MCU, but like that sequence looks like a fan film. It looked like one of those fan edits that you put together for different things. I don't know. It was just it did not have the intended effect. Let's put it that way. I believe that it did not have the intended effect that they were hoping for, where they were like, oh boy, here we go. It felt like an afterthought. It felt like they were like, no, they go to this universe. He runs into Christine Palmer because she's the most important person in the universe. And then they go. Maybe there's an Iron Man, you know? And then they went, the audience is really freaking out about this multiverse shit. Like, they loved all the Spider-Man. Shoot like a bunch of stuff. Like, shoot all these poor actors against a green screen for like 2 days and then stick them in and then have them die. I don't know. It seemed really weird. It was weird why they did it, and it was weird that it like inexpensive looking. And I'm not saying that everything needs to look expensive, but it looked cheap. It didn't look like the rest of the movie did. It looked like we just hit the handbrake and then like looked at this for like for 8 minutes.
Right. Yes.
Just weird. So what a disappointment. Like, you know, you're here you are, you're like, yes, Fantastic Four. Like we're hyping up. There is a Fantastic Four movie being made, you know, and they're like, and let's just take the wind out of that by introducing you to one of them right now and then murder them.
Yeah.
Now you know how easily one of your main protagonists can die in the future movie. Like, it's see what I'm talking about? Like, it's just when you pull that thread, the whole damn thing comes apart.
They could have just as easily just made it an alternate version of the Avengers.
Right.
Like, we defeated Thanos.
Yeah. Right. Or the inverse of the snap.
Sure.
Like the people who didn't get snapped are in that. You know what I mean? Like that's the Avengers, the new Avengers, or the people who didn't get, because I've heard that suggestion of like, how would Endgame work if like the inverted characters had been not snapped? You know, like do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like that's not a holy shit moment. That's not a BuzzFeed article.
No, it's true. That's true.
You know, it's not a what'd you miss? So it's, you know, I don't know. It's weird.
It was a weird moment that I don't understand how it necessarily serviced the plot.
No. Well, it doesn't.
And like I think for them, they were clearly trying to make Strange's character a person who was in love with someone, but also someone who craved power.
Yeah.
Which nothing's really supported either of those two ideas, and this movie was trying to build that. And so like we needed this sequence to be like, no, see, like this is what always happens.
Yeah. I was like, I was so surprised by the love thing. I know that, like, you know, I don't want to talk about that anymore, but like,
yeah,
I was so surprised by the sequence where like he goes to the wedding, and I was like, oh, good for him. Like, I was like, oh, that's great, because when in the trailer you see her in the wedding dress, and I'm like, oh god, in an alternate version, he's like, getting married to her, and then I'm like, oh, good, they're getting rid of her. Like, we had Rachel McAdams on retainer because she like signed a multiple picture contract. We're putting her in this movie to get her out of the contract, and we're writing her out of the movie because who gives a shit about Christine Palmer? And then there was like, no.
I think it's almost like it was entirely because of the What If episode.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like,
which also is like, why?
Like, why? Like, you have years and years of comics you could look at.
They're not going to.
I know you're not going to, but you could. But you could.
Lewis Berry, best scene in the Multiverse of Madness: Wanda and the other Wanda and the kids at the end. Strange versus Strange, Zombie Strange. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about how much they enjoyed that. So I don't. I'm not surprised. Eternal blockbuster, not nearly enough multiverse or madness for me. Homecoming hero, multiverse means it's Beak's time to shine in the MCU.
Bring it on, Beak.
Yeah.
If Beak had been on the Illuminati, I've been like, okay.
Okay, now I see what we're doing. Ray Farr, Zombie Strange with his demon cape was so cool, though. Here's the thing. Yes, that was dope looking.
That was a breaking point for me, though, because I was like, this is the point where people are going to go, that was fun because I saw a thing I liked.
Yeah, it's the Darth Maul fight.
And I was like,
at the end of Phantom Menace.
No.
You forget that the Phantom Menace sucks because you were dazzled by the Darth Maul fight.
No, like, yeah, like, was it neat? Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool
Sam
looking.
Raimi's got this thing about lots of hands.
Yeah, I know. They're creepy. It's scary.
I guess.
Remember when Ben had all those little hands that he put on his fingertips? It was horrifying.
It was a really weird pull. I thought you were gonna be like, "We're gonna drag me to hell." When
with all those hands.
Yeah,
that's creepy. That's cool. No, but I'm telling you, like that sequence of the idea. I think the idea of Doctor Strange spirit walking into his corpse that he put away is a clever idea in a movie that didn't earn it.
So you know what's funny? At one point, in Doctor Strange's history, Doctor Strange is stuck as an astral projection essentially, and has to embody Rintra because he's a magic user and use his body to defeat a great enemy.
Cool. Could have been a fun thing in that movie.
Literally could have been anything.
Yeah, that could have been that.
Like, I'm just like, but he can.
Oh yeah, he didn't need to like spirit walk himself.
I know he can. I know he has to.
No, but we set that up in the movie.
We made rules.
Yeah, we made rules in this movie about spirit walking, and now we're going to do that.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to do it better than her, you know, and it's going to be cool looking because, like, you know, he looks like evil Ash, and he's like, jaw's going to be broken, and no one's going to think it's cool. Like, he's going to give it an inspirational speech as a puppet, and people are going to be mad.
I really.
But I love that. I loved the cape of spirit. I'm like, this is cool.
I didn't think the makeup
cool
looked great for Zombie Strange.
No, but like, yeah, that's because they were probably hamstrung by the fact they were like, it can't look too like decomposy, it can't look too creepy, and plus, like, we could CG that because it looked It looked like a combination, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, it didn't really do it for me.
But I did like, oh no, it was kind of like the hands thing was kind of like a dark reflection of like when he fights Thanos, and you see the arms that he makes when he's like fighting Thanos, and like it's like visually speaking, I thought it was a spectacular looking thing. It doesn't mean that it was good. It was just it was part of the movie.
No, but what I was afraid was that people were going to be like, aha.
Yeah, aha, I've got you. Oh yeah, like yeah, there are comic books I like. Or there's comic books I own where the pages are great and the comic book sucks.
Yeah.
All-Star Batman and Robin and Boy Wonder is a crappy comic book with spectacular art in it.
It was a fine visual.
And I loved, and I enjoyed, I wish that we got the movie.
But that was also attached to a moment of like when Rachel is saying like, use the spirits.
Right, like
and
why did she come up with that idea? You're fucking doing Sorcerer Supreme.
That is such a thing for Clea to be like.
Yeah, like she's like, I thought of that immediately because I'm from the dark dimension.
Because I do this like every day.
Yeah, like Rachel McAdams is like, what? You're like an intern at the Illuminati Academy. But like, by the way, the Baxter Foundation, bite me.
Yeah.
For the second, I was like, oh, the Baxter building is not associated with the Fantastic Four. That's the building they lived in. Like, the Baxter building's not named after anybody from the Fantastic Four. That's named after, like, the paper company that built the building. Why don't you just call the Freedom Foundation or the Future Foundation? What are you doing? What? And that's that movie. That's this movie. It's just like, wait. It's like, oh, cool. Wait, what?
Yeah, you can't think about it too hard.
Like that whole sequence where when he goes into, like, you can see if they release storyboards of the entire sequence from when he goes to the alternate sanctum, to him fighting himself, you'd be like, that's really cool looking. Like, that's a really cool idea. That if it was Nightmare, you know what I mean? That would have been a really cool scene.
I was like, there's no way at this point. And I was like, that strange is gonna turn around, and I'm like, it's gonna be Nightmare.
No,
he's gonna,
right?
Because like, when he said the line, "Are you happy?"
Yeah, it's like, oh,
I was like, no. I don't know why I let myself get hyped on that.
I don't know.
I did though.
But it was that's the thing. The thing that blows my mind is that whole sequence looks really good. And it looks really good, especially in comparison to shit that we saw earlier that doesn't look very good. The Comitage scene is just loaded in CG and it just looks like a soundstage. Friggin' like the Illuminati sequence is just like, ugh, that like alternate future where you can walk around and just accidentally step on a thing that'll show you your memories. What practical application does this serve in the middle of Manhattan? Why is this a thing?
And why would you? I'd never step on that.
Yeah, like, oh no, I don't want anybody to see my darkest fucking fears or something. Like, what am I doing? It's just it was just so that they could force context into a conversation between two characters who could have just talked when they did in a freaking diner earlier in the movie.
Maybe that's like a really shitty multiverse like that.
I mean, obviously it is because their Illuminati sucked and they got their asses handed to them by Wanda.
No, they're like no, it's fine. Like, we embarrass each other every day,
right?
Like nobody.
Look, pizza's a sphere. It's obviously horrible.
That might be okay. I guarantee you, Binging with Babish will have a video out about how to make pizza balls.
Hey, you guys! I just saw the Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, and so I'm gonna make these pizza balls here. First thing you're going to want to do is get a piece of equipment that costs way more than your car.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But yeah, man. But I like that sequence. And like when they fight with the notes, I was like, I like this on paper. Like I was like, this is exactly what, like, you'd never get away with this in the first Doctor Strange movie. In like phase 2 of the MCU, like, you'd never get away with that.
For me, there was like, how you were talking about like before.
Yeah, where you're like, yeah, wait.
Yeah, like that was like my brain. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, we're seeing the Black Bolt mask. Wait, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, yay, they're doing magic. Why is it Fantasia?
Right. And
I'm
it's like
we can't even.
Elfman did the music, and I don't hear any Elfman in this movie.
We can't get him to say the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak.
No.
But we do this, and
he does use them in Infinity War.
But it is magic, so I was like, good, but also, why?
Right.
Like, it was like just these two parts of my brain trying to like square the circle of what I was seeing, because like part of it was like, oh my gosh, hooray, he's doing it.
Right.
Like we're having a magic fight.
Yes.
And there's like,
it's like, but I already got a magic fight with Thanos.
I did.
And it was like actually pulling from the Oath.
Freaking those butterflies.
The butterflies.
Oh my god.
That is straight out of the Oath, and it's also a really cool moment because Thanos is like he reacts to it like he's thinking it's going to be assault, and it's like it's butterflies, and that makes him underestimate Strange because like, why would you make something soft and like delicate so attack me? And then No, that's a really cool. Like, yeah, get the Russo brothers to make a fucking Doctor Strange movie, because anybody else gets it. And I feel bad though, because like Sam Raimi, I would have thought he'd get it, and I don't. And I think it's just that he was hamstrung by the fact that like, I think he didn't have enough time and he didn't have the script.
And I think it was a bad combination.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, as much as there's a multiverse out there, guys, where like Sam Raimi got to do exactly what he wanted, and like maybe that movie's a lot better.
The reality is, if they got to do what they wanted, Sam Raimi would never made the movie. Because they never would have asked him, because they would have asked like Derrickson, or they would have thought, okay, well, Derrickson did this one. Hey, anyone who directed Doctor Strange and made a really fantastic sequence with Doctor Strange from our library, would you like to make it?
Yeah.
Looking at you, Russos and Waititi, would you like to make a Doctor Strange movie? Yes. And then they did. That's the better Doctor Strange movie. Not great. A hastily thrown together like, well, we were going to do this, and Derrickson wanted to make a horror movie, and then he didn't get it, so he quit. And then they hired Sam Raimi, and people were literally duped into thinking that like that was going to be a more hardcore horror movie. Like Derrickson walked away because he wasn't allowed to make a horror movie, and then you thought they were going to let Raimi do it?
I think some people thought it was going to be like Spider-Man.
Well, that would be a mistake.
But I think some people thought it was going to be that level of like hero movie.
Right.
And
that's not what Doctor Strange is. You're
not going to get that.
I wouldn't want a Doctor Strange movie that looks like Spider-Man.
I wouldn't either. I do think that some people had that in the back of their minds. And, for others who thought they were going to get a horror movie, it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
I assumed it was going to, I don't know why, but I was like, it's going to be like Army of Darkness. And I wasn't wrong.
If it was more like Army of Darkness, I would have at least laughed more.
But like in terms of like some of the like effects,
yes,
and some of the like Raimi-isms, because there are quite a few Raimi-isms in this.
Yeah, but not as many as in Spider-Man.
No, but like they get a little distracting at times.
Yeah.
Because it's like it doesn't fit with the tone of whatever the scene is that we're leading from or into. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted this movie to be better, and Sal had told me that he heard like some okay things right before we went in. So I was like, okay.
I had heard some good stuff.
No, but that's fine, because it really put me in the place, like the mental headspace of just being like totally open.
Yeah.
And like it just didn't do it for me. And that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. And if you did, good on you.
Yeah.
Like, you saw something in that movie I just cannot see.
That's fair. That happens all the time. That's art, man.
Exactly what art is. And it's like interpretational. And that's why I said this 1,000 times, but that's why there's so many different creatives out there, because they all bring something different to the table. And, we're all going to see something different in a piece of art. And movies, no matter what level they're at, are technically art. You know what I mean? Like even the most like basic, comedy is art. It's art. There's something there, and it's going to be interpreted differently by each individual. And for me, subjectively speaking, this wasn't Doctor Strange.
No.
And objectively speaking, it wasn't a terribly good script.
Right.
And it wasn't a terribly strong movie.
Yeah.
So
Brian T. Brawler, I highly enjoy watching you talk about movies and pretty much anything. I appreciate your perspective on this movie. Well, thank you very much,
so
Brian. And look, hopefully we didn't color your opinion in any way. It's just we wanted you to, we're here to share our opinions. All things super. Never catch these live. So Silent Tiff, y'all rock. Sorry you didn't like the movie. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Super.
Really, really did want to.
Yeah. Ali Al-Ziadi, why did the Illuminati think Strange was bad when he's a different person and they just assume their version of Wanda was innocent? Inconsistency. Yeah, it's weird that like Wanda is like, she's was she ever an Avenger? Like,
right? No, they're just like, no.
And like I didn't really even no. So but I did like that he's blue. And hey, he got the blue cape. That's kind of fun. The evil one.
The blue cape isn't evil.
No, I'm saying like the one they had to murder.
Right. But
Louis Barry, think destroying the Darkhold will lead to breaking the spell on Agatha? Maybe. Agatha's getting her own show, so who knows what they're going to do with that? You were going to say?
I was going to say the reason that happens with the they assume this and not that is because the script wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Because they didn't ask those questions of themselves.
No.
Because like they established certain rules and like died by them, and other rules they just didn't.
They just were like, oh, well, who cares? It's silly. It's a comic movie. Whatever. And it's like, dude, you got to go one or the other.
Right. Do you think Clea is going to actually be from the Dark Dimension?
I think yes.
Did she say it? I don't even remember.
Well, here's the thing: when she opened up the portal, that was the Dark Dimension. So it's like I think yes, I think they are. Good. So yeah, implications of the future. I love Charlize Theron. I think she's an amazing actor, and I hope like we've talked about this off camera. The fact that like Charlize Theron has tried to be part of a franchise.
I know
for forever.
I know.
And you reminded me of a great movie she's in.
Well, because and here's what my issue was, and like you know what. I just have to throw out what I think of these characters, and like I have to
just see what they give us,
which just sucks.
Which sucks because like I got Spider-Man, right? Like I got 3 Spider-Man movies that are like hey, yeah, it's like, you know what? I gotta change my preconception. And then the last 10 seconds, it's like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
There
cool.
it is. Yeah, but like, you know, Clea is a sorcerer supreme, and that doesn't mean that she's not like a, you know, fighter or whatever. But like, she doesn't usually like. She's not necessarily a physical fighter.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what they're going to do with this character. But immediately I was like, that's an interesting casting.
Yeah, no, it's
for
true.
this, and I'm not upset about it. I'm
No.
not upset about it because I like Theron.
Yeah.
Because the movie we were talking about was, I was like, well, she was in Atomic Blonde, and I freaking loved her in Atomic
That
Blonde.
movie is great, and she's excellent in it. And I loved her in everything, like Devil's Advocate. Friggin', I didn't care for Aeon Flux.
I think that's fair.
But that's not her fault necessarily. But yeah, like, but I love the idea of her being like, if someone said to me like, "Oh man, Charlize Theron is Clea," I'd be like, "Yeah, okay." I didn't care for her hair. I thought it looked like a wig, and it could be the color, or could it be just how fucking hastily put together that scene probably was.
It might have been. That was okay. So that's a key example for me of like editing, in terms of editing a storytelling, because editing should be
Seamless.
Well, editing's all is supposed to be like showing the moments like that you need to see.
Yes.
You know, and
like comic books,
and progressing the story along. Like, you cut the things because
they matter.
It matters, or it means something. But like the end of Doctor Strange, which, first of all, that looked not good.
No.
But like, he's walking in the street.
Mhm.
You're getting initially. Okay, hang on. I want to talk about something I really enjoyed for like a hot second.
Okay.
Because it's like, I feel like I haven't said anything that I enjoyed. So here's the thing I enjoyed. And it wasn't necessarily because I didn't like Shumagorath being relegated to what he was relegated to.
Right.
But that moment where like he like uses magic to like just like
to kill him?
No, to just like to see it. Because
Oh,
you can't see him.
yeah.
And it gave me like straight up Aaron vibes. Like that, like he can see things.
Yes.
Like, you know, and like so he opens it up so I guess everybody can see it now.
Yeah.
But like I was like, that's great.
Mhm.
I really, really enjoyed that. So anyway, that made me think of that, because when he's walking around the city, he's got like the
he's got
on as like a scarf. It made me think of the Aaron run.
Yes.
And so like that was fun. But we end the movie with a pure Raimi shot of him like screaming in a crosswalk and like a zoom in on his face with the third eye, right? Only to cut then to credits and the post-credit scenes of Strange walking around in the city.
Yeah, like 3 seconds later.
Or on a different day. I don't know, because like that.
He's wearing the same outfit.
But that editing is so like.
Yeah.
Because like, wouldn't he just go?
Right. Like what? Like, that implies a greater adventure.
Right.
But then he's fine. Like, it would be like if they finish the scene. Like, if you should cut to him on the ground and then Clea opens up the fucking portal.
Yeah, but like it's him screaming, cut.
And then he's fine again and he's having a normal day.
Yeah. And I was like, that's
and he's used to the third eye. And you're like,
that's
what?
an example of the like editing choices in here.
Yeah. That cause an issue.
Yeah. But like otherwise, you know, like I said, this suit, it's pretty spot on. It just looks so out of place because of that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm glad that
she looks like Clea.
Looks like Clea. And I'm like, this is exciting because people will now know who Clea is.
Right.
Because the average moviegoer,
no
idea. And I'm like, yay.
That's a classic Marvel Cinematic Universe moment where it's like, who's that?
Yeah.
You know?
Be like, oh.
I forgot to mention the incursions, and I appreciate people mentioning it. But the incursions are the Thanos looking over his shoulder moment. I think the incursions are, because I think with them implying the incursions, which I felt like they really downplayed, despite the fact that the Illuminati talk about it, I genuinely was like, oh yeah, the incursions should be a big friggin' deal. And it's like, oh, the incursions are why Kang was doing what he was doing in Loki. Like, oh, you're tying it together. Okay. If you're doing incursions, clearly the end game is Secret Wars. And if you're implying multiverse and you're doing all this shit, the Secret Wars are going to have like Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and like everyone's in it. Like Captain America, Chris Evans is going to be in it, but Captain Carter will also be in it. They're going to fight together. Like, yeah. Well, but like that, I think that's where they're going with it. And the incursions are going to be like the looming threat of like universes being destroyed and the threat of our universe, and like, so yeah, I think we're going to get that, and that'll probably be the end because it'll end with a reboot.
Yeah, and if that is the entire end game of this movie, that's like the fact like did you just needed to set that up?
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, you could have done that in Loki season 2. You didn't need to do that in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like you use this as like a vehicle.
Yeah, which I mean, some of them are. Yeah, like Thanos is only in Guardians because Thanos is in the Avengers movie.
Right.
But at least they made it work.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thenhouse says Krasinski was a delightful surprise, but he looked like he was reading cue cards, and his energy seemed low. Keep the lights on. Thank you. Yeah, no, he does. His energy did seem low. Like,
it's almost like his heart wasn't in it.
Yeah, which I'm like, dude.
It's like he took the check and he's like, I don't understand. It's almost like he was like, I don't understand why anybody wants me in this role.
Right.
Like he's like, maybe he doesn't.
But he auditioned for Captain America. Like he wants to be in the MCU.
Sure. But
So
maybe
it's like,
he's like, I don't want to be Reed Richards.
Right.
Though.
I have to deliver like really clunky dialogue. I don't understand. Fear and Loathing in general, this whole movie felt like a post-credit scene. Yeah, kind of.
It did. I agree. I can see that.
And Aaron Ruiz, my problem with the movie is on character progression. Cameos come out mean-spirited, but I don't think that was intentional. They tried a Saiyan saga sequence with no attachment to and hero to give hope.
Yeah, so like that's for sure because like there is no like hopeful hero here.
No.
It's like
I guess Doctor Strange is the idea because like he's the one who's not corruptible and he's like he's good the whole time and
he doesn't even earn that though necessarily because he's not really given tests.
No, his test is a version of you was a jerk. It's like, well, I got to be better than him. That's all.
His test is Wong.
Yeah.
Wong. Sorcerer Supreme goes, you have to take her powers. Dude, you're Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. Well, that should show that he's not worthy.
Like, the Vashani should have shown up right there. Helga should have been like, no.
That would have been great.
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
So let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up.
Yes.
Because this is a comic book show after all.
Yes.
Tiffany, take it away because I don't think I have any. I do have one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. X-Men number 11, which we both agree.
We do both.
That's coming out. Freaking Al Ewing's killing it on that book.
No, that's Jerry Duggan.
Damn it.
Al Ewing does the other one.
Those two are like one person, and I don't know why. I've never seen them, and I don't know what they look like. No. But in my head, they're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Conspiracy theory time. I also want to give a shout out to Shang-Chi number 12. This is going to be wrapping up this Shang-Chi book, then to be transitioning to Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Right. So this book is ending, but it will continue in the next series. So it's not technically canceled.
And it's going to be the same team. So if you liked this book, you're probably going to like the next book. So definitely go grab that. Nightmare Country number 2 from the Sandman universe is coming out, written by James Tynion IV. The only thing that we're bringing back was to write the Sandman universe. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
King Conan number 4 by Jason Aaron is coming out. I feel like we haven't had an issue with this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go back and check that, but it feels like it's been some time.
Fair.
It's been some time.
Mm-hmm.
The compendium edition?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's that?
It usually means there's like more stuff.
Oh, more stuff.
Or like just the same book, but with more crap in it.
Okay.
Obviously, I gotta recommend. I'm gonna check this out because I've been reading all of the Hulk. Hulk versus Thor, Banner of War, Alpha number 1. A lot of clunky title in that, but I
like Banner of War.
Yeah, right. Neat idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hulk versus Thor, the book, and we got some friggin' God, who drew Gary Frank cover art. Holy crap, looks great. Moon Knight Black, White and Blood number 1 is also on the docket because that's written by a trifecta of creators, one of whom is Jed MacKay, who is writing your series of Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I have been not reading. I'm sorry, it was Hickman writing Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's Hickman, Guggenheim. And Ayodele.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, and I apologize.
Yeah, me too.
But like, I love a good restricted palette in a book, especially when it's a decision as opposed to like a monetary decision. Like, I get it, colors are expensive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you're trying to print, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you tell the artist, like, no, we're doing this on purpose, having the black, white, and blood, having that red there, I assume that that's what we're doing here.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Moon Knight really lends itself to that.
He is black and white.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it really lends itself to it than just having that like splash of red. So I look forward to reading that.
Totally.
Because I've been enjoying what McKay's been doing on it, but I like to see.
But Hickman doing Moon Knight?
Well, I'd like to see all 3 of them.
That's
because,
true.
Like, Moon Knight can be taken in so many different directions. So I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yep. And I'm going to check out Blood Syndicate season 1, number 1. I love all the Milestone books. They're great, and you should be checking them out. But if you haven't already, you should definitely check out the old school Milestone run because there's some really untapped gems in that series. I also forgot about Jurassic League number 1, drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. Justice League or Dinosaurs. That's the book. Yikes. I can't wait.
How do you get that pitched?
Jurassic
I guess you just say
League.
that. You just say Justice League, but the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I think the name came first. And then
they're like, think of the action figures.
Right. Which McFarlane's probably already making. as we speak.
I hope so.
Matthew Terlaga. Hey guys, I got here late. Did you talk about the Free Comic Book Day leaks, or are you saving that for next week? I don't know what leaks you're talking about, but we did read all the Free Comic Book Day books. We didn't get a chance to talk about them because we did an hour and 45-minute episode about one movie. Lewis Berry. I think we will get see Tom Cruise's Superior Iron Man in Doctor Strange 3 or Secret Wars. Secret Wars, because apparently they did not get him, but they did want him.
But see, that would have helped to establish the rules of the Illuminati.
Right, like a different actor being Iron Man.
By being an actor not associated with the MCU.
Exactly.
Like, that would have really helped to establish the rules of the Illuminati that we saw. But again, they chose to focus on some rules and let other ones go.
Ray Farr wanted to know, what do you think of Doctor Strange's sister being mentioned?
So that was a big thing for me, because like that is... I literally said out loud, I was like, oh my God, I'm talking in the movie. They give her origin. I'm like, close enough. Like I was like, all right.
Deep enough cut.
But like, yo, where's his brother?
Right.
Because Strange is a brother. And he's bearing blood. Or he's one
he's
of the
bearing blood.
And it's Strange's fault.
Right.
Like,
which you're not going to get.
No, but I'm like, if you want to give something for Strange to feel bad about, his family's right up there.
Yeah.
And they just shoehorn that in.
Yeah.
Like, that's the nightmare he should have been having, was his sister.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you cut out all the romance shit, and it's just all about the tragedy of him losing his sister.
Yeah.
And he goes in the multiverse. Maybe he's tempted, like Wanda is, to find his sister. And like...
Yeah, even if you drop the brother, you just stick with the sister.
Just stick with the sister, and that's the whole thing. It's just like, he's not in love with her. He's trying to save his sister. Wanda's journey is also he's chasing. Yeah. He doesn't see the hypocrisy, and then he realizes it. He's like, oh, shit, I'm...
Yeah, or like he's wondering, like, have we ever saved her?
Right.
Like, because that's the reason he becomes a doctor.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't save her.
Yeah.
He's like, is there a universe where, like, we did? What happened?
That would be neat.
Like,
that'd be really cool. Eric Santi wants to know, very unrelated, have you read 90s run of Darkhold? It's Marvel making a Vertigo book and features Marvel's first lesbian character, Victoria Montesi, trying to stop Chthon.
Chthon, yes. I've read a couple of the issues. I think I have.
I think we have the whole series.
Somewhere, yeah. Yeah, I definitely have some of the, like, single issues, for sure.
Yeah, you have it in floppy. Josh Sosa just came in. Not sure if you answered this already. Thoughts on MCU being called Earth 616, even though the comics already did 16. Yeah, the comics already designated the movie universe as a different number, which means they don't give a fuck about the comic books. Right. And they never will. And if you never thought they did, you are lying to yourself.
It's really just evidence more so of that sequence being just played for
fandom. They didn't want you to clap your hands.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted. Like, 616, I fully, when they were talking about new numerical destinations, I knew it was going to be 616.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you know what they did? The reason why they did that, I think, is because they want you to think of the MCU in the multiverse to being the main Marvel universe.
Sure.
And if that's the case, they're going to give it the main Marvel universe moniker. So there you go.
If you're the universe who's naming them all, why did you give yourself like 813 or whatever they were?
Right. Why didn't you go with
883 or whatever it is? Yeah. What? You're like so far down there.
I know.
What happened?
I don't know. You'll have to ask like Reed or whoever mapped it originally, because 616, the idea was that like 616 was just it was just like, it's one of many.
No, I know, but I meant like in this movie.
Oh, I know.
They're like, oh yeah, we
mapped it. Yeah. It's like, then why didn't you go start with 1? Because Doctor Strange in a blue cape, it was too weird.
I'm like 8. There's definitely 8.
Because there's too much variance.
I guess.
It was already too weird. Anyway, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We want to especially thank our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. We want to thank everybody for being cordial and cool and honest and respectful in the comments.
Again, if you like the movie, all right? Just because we didn't and we talked about why we didn't doesn't mean that you don't have to like it.
It doesn't mean that we're always going to disagree.
Right.
So you can still enjoy this channel for what we have, because we make a lot of neat stuff.
Sometimes we're going to agree on things.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to question everything.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It'll truly be a multiverse of madness for you. But we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time with a new episode of Off the Rack, which is normally on Monday nights around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you'll catch us next week, where we'll talk all about comics, Free Comic Book Day, and the books that came out today and tomorrow.
That's right.
Got your recommendations, so check them out tonight and tomorrow, and we'll see you guys then. Of course, don't forget to check out youtube.com/ComicPop to watch our flagship show, Back Issues, tomorrow. Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. It's a pretty dark, miserable book, and I'm very excited to talk about it.
That episode went away I could not
took a
have
turn.
seen
I actually
coming.
cut out most of it because I was
Did
like,
you really?
it's too dark.
It's too dark.
It's too much.
We went places.
Not the book. The
Not
book.
the
You'll get the
book.
whole book.
There's
but
a
like,
conversation.
yeah. Justice Thompson, thank you very much. This was a good time. Thanks for the chat. Well, thank
Well,
you for
thanks for
your
being
support.
here. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, but thank you to everybody, and we'll see you guys next time. So long.
Bye.